So, a little bit about Pointivo. Pointivo, well, first of all, my background, as Heidi was alluding to, ran Vantage Point for about 2 years, which was kind of a forward-facing drone service company that did tools to help roofers. Okay, we subsidiary of Metal Forming. I ran that for 2 years. We're working with Pointivo, and then we combined forces. We figured that, from a strategy standpoint, it was better to go after all the drone players, okay, and work with them to be a back-end services provider, provide highly accurate wireframes and measurements back to them. Okay, let them service. And from a business and customer standpoint, that made sense. Also, from gathering data perspective, it's made sense. So we're now partnered with the top 4 or 5 drone platform providers out there. So I am a drone pilot, so I have background in that. And some of the things I'm going to talk to you about today concern, basic drones and flying and roofing construction. Talk some use cases there. Go a little bit understanding. We're talking about geofencing, talking a little bit about how time moves on the earth, and talk a little bit of how the construction industry is doing surveying, how particular that could feed back into the roofing industry, and how roofing industry is doing it today. Talk a little bit about the Pointivo's roadmap, and hopefully you can gather something from that. Okay. All right. Wait a second. Okay. All right. So let's look a little bit about what surveying is. Traditionally surveying has been, establishing land boundaries. If you can see way back in the 1620s, 1700s, gunner chains going out, stretching across land, trying to establish boundaries. Old metric system in the English side, trying to convert, their metric system to acres. Zenith telescope looking at the stars, projecting down as Nadar is top to zenith bottom to try to position the stars on Earth to know where you're at. The solar compass innovation developed to overcome magnetic iron in the ground, looking at sun declination and latitude and a lot of different things to fix yourself on the Earth. If you fast forward that, and a lot of the tools that are being used in the construction industry today, they're spending a lot of money into using lasers and total stations, and even LiDAR is a big technology that's coming around. They're spending that money. Well, why has that got into the roofing industry? Well, really can't take a laser up in the air. It's just too expensive, and you got to level it and all these kind of things. But now comes along the drone. Along comes the mobile device, capturing images. It really has changed the game as far as being able to recreate three-dimensional structure, as you'll see as we go through here. Okay? So to measure, we're all familiar with measuring. We all drag tape measures on top of a roof, okay, to get the measurements. Really, that's what to measure means. It's a relative accuracy. Drag it from point A to point B. Okay? The cool thing about surveying is it's not only gathering a lot of data, you have the ability to position that data on Earth. Okay, so it's really what we call absolute accuracy. Where does that point cloud fit on the Earth? Where does that GeoJSON wireframe fit on the Earth? It's about to map every single point that you're collecting inside of your 3D structure to an exact location on Earth. And whatever the difference is error, absolute error. Okay, so that's what's happening today, and that actually opens up a lot more use cases than just doing relative measurements. We use roofing reports. We got the distance between point A to point B, and it works. But actually, when you can project that back onto the world surface, it actually it's more interesting and more powerful data. A lot of industries are using this. You see a lot of different types of point clouds being gathered from LiDAR sensors, from laser scanners themselves. And you can see all the different types of industries that have adopted to this, where they're gathering as-built data from lasers. If you look at the mining industry, they go in and they either use drones or handhelds, or they'll scan the inside of the mine to look for cracks and safety issues. If you look at the insurance side, they're trying to solve the problem of getting the claim check to the owner after a big storm hits, okay? Storm chaser concept. When we really focus in on roofing, building envelope, and construction, kind of talk a little bit about the use cases. And this it's not all surveying with the drones. The drones themselves can do a lot more. Let's talk about the drones, different types. Single rotor is really more for hobbyists. It's kind of hard to fly, and it's faster than a multi-rotor, but most people are not adopting that because of its complexity. Multi-rotor is really the survey platform that's been adopted in the insurance industry, the construction industry, and hopefully the roofing industry. Okay, because it's easy, it's stable, they're low cost. You can buy a survey grade kind of drone, which is survey at $1,500 with the DJI Phantom 4 Pro. Okay? Fixed wing is really, it can't hover like these other two can, but it can fly fast. And it's taken a hold in the agricultural industry pretty hard. So what they do is they'll fly crops, and they'll see which crops are actually, unhealthy, and then they'll direct that information and that intelligence back to the watering platforms to water those, or go back and help those crops to get better. And then you see other applications where people are using poles. We were talking to one last night. We're using that gimbal-based pole system to go up and take pictures or capture video, stuff like that. You also see cranes. Pix 4D has a camera system you can put on the crane, and it'll just sit there and swoop back and forth in order to gather imagery to do all kinds of cool stuff with it. So if you look at a drone, there's been studies out here in clear seas that says if you're going to use a drone, you can do it 10 times faster. And as the complexity of what you're trying to do goes up, it shines more. Okay? There's no doubt about it. Okay? We've scanned 50 to 60 neighborhoods all in like 10 minutes, and we're able to turn that into measurements, the scalability of that in hours. So they measure all that whole neighborhood. So clearly there. If you look at the adoption, not necessarily all just in roofing, but what you see is projected out to be an 81% adoption rate if you look at some of the data that's in clear seas, and you believe that. If you look at the things that are creating the three-dimensional point clouds or meshes or orthos, the kind of outputs of these processes, you can see some numbers jumping there. More industries are using point clouds, they're using photogrammetry, which is the process of taking imagery and converting it to point clouds. Okay? And you also see the technology being used a lot more in the building and construction industry. Okay, so the trends are there. Okay? Let's look a little bit about drones and construction. Kind of see roofing. Maybe there's some of the use cases from the construction side, especially on new construction of a roof, kind of fits right in there. Drones in the marketing and promotion side. This is where we see a lot of even roofers using the drones to go out and capture images, video to create marketing spreads to help their business and show better with customers. Clearly that's happening all over the place. Okay. Site inspections, be able to go through and fly over a construction site to make sure all your federal and state and local codes are being met, make sure everything's going safe. Just get a snapshot of the whole site during that time frame. Allowing contractors to be more effective, to be able to they're bouncing between construction sites, to have a global view of what's going on in that construction site and have a better awareness of what's going on. Showing clients progress. You got your clients coming in, you don't want them walking around with the shiny hats and the shiny boots, but you're able to show them video from that day, keep them happy. Surveying being a big industry too, and I'll go more in depth on that a little bit later. You can see safety, making sure safety plans, doing high-risk operations, having the drone there to monitor that, either through real-time feeds or from images taken or from video taken. It provides a totally different perspective view of what's going on. And then thermal imaging is a big area, maintenance inspection, site security, prevent from theft and so forth. And ultimately we're seeing and hearing from the construction side is better collaboration, more data, making better decisions and so forth. And if you see, I'm not going to go through all this, but the use cases kind of explode in all the different directions. And drones are definitely a big player in that process. So our specialty is in the surveying perspective and creating 3D. So let's take a quick snapshot of what I think is going on in the roofing industry. Clearly, the evolution here is, here we are on a roof taking, measuring a roof with a tape measure. Okay? It's big, roofing reports. You know, the Eagle Views, the Sky Measures, roof scopes, all generating roofing reports. However, they have some weaknesses because, you know, a lot of the images that they use and measure on these images are older, okay, because flying with a plane, they do it every 6 months, a year. Sometimes you just don't know what you're getting. Plus, you don't see anything below there to give you confidence, but the structure is underneath the wireframe. So you could have some inaccuracies there. We also see a big thing with do-it-yourself roofing in CAD, and they see edge. You know, clearly it's more outside just the do-it-yourself piece of it, but you know, they got great software, but it's still in the 2D side. Okay, and we're trying to get it to 3D. Okay, and the things that we're doing is essentially trying to automate the 3D. Now, there is something missing up here as far as the technology goes. It's like 2.5D. Okay, you guys probably know what I'm talking about. Pictometry software, they have it where you can actually measure on the obliques. Okay, so that kind of sits there in the middle because you're able to take the obliques and get slope data from that. But ultimately, we're trying to be, you know, fully automated. We're fully automated, providing visual confidence. You can see a wireframe over the point cloud, so you can have full confidence that those measurements are correct. And when you have drone data, you got real fresh data. You know, if you flew yesterday, you're pretty much guaranteed that you got the exact measurements. We're also working with other partners, you know, in the insurance side, they want more 3D. Roofing, when it's 2D or whatever, you know, we're providing 2D types of outputs, 2D data packages, and so forth to help enable different partners across the industry. So if you look at it, if you were going out and flying a drone, here would be like a drone flying around in an oblique image pattern, okay, capturing the images of this building. You can see there's a three-dimensional point cloud that gets created from that model. Pretty realistic. Okay? And there's a lot of companies out there that can work with you to create those 3D models, okay, using the images. We are actually taking the point cloud. We can create the point cloud, but we're also taking the point cloud and do what we call image extraction using the concepts of machine learning and computer vision techniques. Okay? You can see here, that's the ability to extract that information automatically at high accuracy, and ultimately providing us those dimensions to you so you can use them downstream in your process. We've done several studies with Hague and Kesprey, and with 17 roofs and providing fairly high accurate numbers based on that, and with certain techniques of ground targets and helping with the accuracy of scaling, we can get the measurements down to sub 1 inch, which is a survey grade measurements. Okay.
That's at 99.4% accuracy.
Yeah, with the regular GPS scaling that comes with the drone. We also worked with manned aerial. So we have a partner that we've worked with that's capturing the U.S. oblique imagery, and we can turn that. You see the capital of Dallas. You see the picture there, up there, and we're able to turn that into a wireframe. Okay, 3D model, okay, that people can use downstream. It decouples it from the drone, as you can imagine, but but you may be working on imagery that's a little bit older as you go through, which depends what you want to do, and the accuracy. Since it flies a little higher, it's not quite as accurate, but definitely more accurate than you're getting today. So where are we going? As far as the concepts of using machine learning and computer vision, okay? It's about automating the intelligence extraction from these things. You can see over here, oops, I'm going to take this thing off. You see over here, we have 3D point cloud that's getting created from what they call photogrammetry and lasers and LiDAR. Here's where we're at today. We can fully create three-dimensional wireframes, and you can see the industries that we're clearly focused in is insurance and roofing and flooring. It's more of simple objects. It's lines, it's polygons, but that's the industry that we're servicing today and processing hundreds going into thousands of projects per day. As you know, on the machine learning side, who owns the data? It's king, because the data is the one telling you the answers. Okay? So we definitely on the road to help us in the future and solve other problems. It also helps you not only solve from 3D, but you can back project it to solve things on 2D. So if you're actually trying to measure on a satellite, which is a 2D image, You're going to get a 2D wireframe, but you're going to get a high accurate 2D wireframe. A lot of people just want 2D, right? Especially in flat commercial roofing. This is where we're going. Creation of BIM objects. We're not there yet. It's kind of a next year focus. We want to fully flesh out the simple objects in those industries to get those rolling. But we have grants and we have the expertise. We have like 4 PhDs on staff and a handful of masters that are very smart in this area and love it. So we're definitely on the route to do there, and we got several partners that are working with us on that. But we're going there. The VR and the AR space. Think about the ability to take handhelds and create augmented and virtual reality environments. And I got a little video to kind of show you that. You can see the different types of industries that they would focus on. So, a little bit on the BIM creation. We did a case study working with one of the architectural companies. And as you can see here, you have a process. When you use a laser system, it's about, this is a bank that we did here in Atlanta. You got to survey it, and if it's real big, especially, your laser only has a certain amount of view, you got to set up targets and actually, go through and survey different locations and then bring those clouds back together. Okay, so the surveys happen, you transfer the data, and the scale and registration part is about matching those point clouds back together. Okay, then you have an import, and the real bottleneck is the intelligence extraction piece. 3-week process, 2 weeks stuck in that bottleneck right there. Okay, so we've done our own research and proved that using a combination of mobile and drone and an intelligence platform, we can push through that bottleneck. Okay, we've proven that. It's not an actual product today, but we can get that whole process down in 3 days. Okay. So a little bit on VR content, as you can see here, is going through and capturing a room, right? So if you imagine all the different use cases, wow, it turns right into a point cloud. 3-dimensional point cloud, it converts into a VR model. You can see how the gamers would want to use this, but you may have other things that you want to do too. This is a 2-year focus in order to turn it into VR, but it's got huge potential in a lot of different industries. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the industry. Where's the industry at as far as drones? Okay. As you look up here, you see a lot of different platform providers, a lot of partners with us. Okay, if you look at the DJIs and the 3DRs, and another one, SenseFly, they're the guys making the drones. Okay, DJI's got a huge penetration in the U.S. market, over 70%, making great drones, low-cost drones that are very stable and collect great imagery and GPS data and even video. Then you have these other types of players they call drones as a service providers. These are the guys who made it, went out and said, look, you want to fly for me. In 2016, in the August timeframe, they came out and said you could be a remote pilot, you just got to take the exam, and boom, everybody flocked in there and wanted to be, our own remote pilot. Well, those guys said, come to us, be our pilot network. And those guys are drone-based. They're also a Better View. They have their own pilot network. So it's just a matter of picking up the phone and calling these guys and having a calendar system. You get a pilot out there within 48 hours. Even if you don't feel comfortable in flying, you'd be amazed, especially if you're doing a job remotely and you don't want to fly there, about how much information the imagery can give you. You can turn that into models and measurements, how much you can actually do before you can get on a job site. Okay? Then you have the other types of players are more like drone deploy and Kestrel and Precision Hawk. These are the companies, they don't necessarily have pilot networks that they loan out and you pay for. They are building software to control the drone and then building a back end to process the imagery. Okay? So if you look at, they're all a little bit different. Precision Hawk is a company out of North Carolina, and they have a drone platform. You fly it, use precision flight, push a button, and it scans the building. Okay? And then it uploads to their site, and then they create a 3-dimensional point cloud, and then they have these little analytics store. All these smart guys built these analytics, and these analytics you can like purchase them for low cost to run that on the data and give you more information. If you look at Drone Deploy, it's very similar, except for they built an app store where you can build an app and leverage on top of their platform. So, we realized early on that, we don't necessarily, our magic sauce is not the point cloud, it's actually extracting the intelligence, doing the hard stuff. So that's why we position ourselves. If they want to do the cloud, Pix4D, Agisoft, all the players there, they can do that, no problem. Okay? And you got point cloud generations getting a little crowded. Pix4D is definitely at the top of the list. I'll be at the UAV Expo next week talking to these guys. Switzerland, and they do, you can take imagery that you capture on your phone with a drone and feed it through there and come out with a nice three-dimensional point cloud that's scaled, okay, that you can actually draw in there and do your own takeoffs off of that point cloud. Okay? And there's some other players there too. And then on the intelligence side, there's companies that do standalone software that allow you to pull intelligence off, but it's not a cloud-based solution. It's scalable and offered through an API to enable your own application on your side. But there is players out there that are solving different problems in the piping industry, in the construction industry, and so forth. So,
how big a player is Autodesk? Because I mean, that's a big company.
So Autodesk, as you know, they have tons of software. The one specifically they call Recap. It's a program that's designed to take in imagery and reconstruct, a point. So what they're good at is they take a laser from a laser point cloud. Then they'll take the photogrammetry point cloud generated from the drone flying the roof, and then they allow you to bring both into the software and register them together so you can get a nice full building on that. So that is a cloud-based platform, but they're not extracting intelligence off of there so you can automate a downstream process.
And their big place is on the general contracting side.
Absolutely. Absolutely, especially in the construction industry.
Yep.
Any other questions on those, or questions in
What
general?
was the conference? You mentioned a conference.
UAV Expo Conference. It's out in Vegas next week, starting on the 24th through the 26th. Okay? And if you ever want to go to conferences and open your mind, you go to the SPAR conference. They normally have it in Texas, like in Austin or Dallas. SPAR is the huge conference related to scanning technologies, laser scanners, everything. They even have laser scanners now on drones, but they're $100,000, and that's a lot of money to put in the air, in my opinion. But there's a lot of great stuff going on in there, on that side. So
I've seen a number of these companies present at Built World's conference.
Built World side,
all the Autodesk stuff.
Absolutely. And the construction guys, they're all in. They've been doing this for a long time, because they realize the value of the data that comes out, the accuracy that it gives you. But we just never, on the roofing side, just never see it take hold. Now, the insurance guys, totally different story. They're 2 years ahead of where the roofing guys are. State Farm started the trend way back when, and all of them's on file. In fact, a lot of those drone players you see up there are sprouting up as startups. Series B, Series C rounds, to cater to those insurance companies that have money. Okay, clearly get the advantage of that. That's was one of the focus that they have at Vantage Point is going through it. So, questions? Any other ones? No.
There was a company at the last Built Worlds, and I can't remember what their name was, but they're doing this. They're taking what you're talking about, the pictures. I was just looking for it's better view, but I'm not sure if that's right. And they are actually putting in the BIM information with the imagery, and then building as the building is built by the general contractor.
Really?
Yeah, it's
It'd
they're out of
interesting
Seattle.
to see.
I'll find the name. It's really
Interesting to see.
cool.
Where we see a lot more of the drone companies here that are offering services and analytics, where we see them at, and think about where the drone is for you guys. Marketing is cool, getting nice video is cool, but what they're doing is they're actually offering services on the inspection side. That's where their sweet spot is right now. So if you think about it, I need to estimate the size of this wet spot, or I need to do a thermal scan, or I need to collect other intel that's on the roof. That's what they're trying to solve. Okay, what we're helping them with is not only the ability to measure an outline of a roof, it's the ability to say, okay, send this in, what you type as a wet spot, and we will give you the exact dimensions and area and all that stuff in 3 dimensions back to you, so you can, put it in your report or offer that as, somebody could tie it to a bid number and that kind of thing, because, it's just basically having high accuracy measurements from that. So that's kind of the ways we're working with those guys to help them in their process, especially on the drone side. And we see a lot of that stuff going on. hail damage, all kinds of stuff. Stuff that I'm sure these guys will talk about more in their presentation. So, okay. All right, so future impacts on smart cities. I'd like to study a little bit what's going on in this area. We see, drones, manned aerial satellites all contributing to the equation of gathering intelligence across the world. Building structures, all types of use cases to improve all these different areas, ultimately providing huge amounts of data. That data has to be fed to something that can process it. Humans would take a long time, but if you can automate a system to get smarter, feed that into that, AI and machine learning will be the stuff that's taking that data and making usable data out of it. Okay? Eventually, the concepts of the data itself and the machine learning piece of it and computer vision is going to feed in to create VR and AR content. If you think about what you can do with those kind of things, you create new 3D printed buildings. You can create better smart city types of designs, immersive entertainment, and so forth, and more collaborative decision making because you're getting to see the real world in that picture. Okay? That's where we see it going, and we're excited to where it's going and what it'll hold. So, with that being said, if you guys have any questions, none? Okay, all right. I'm going to turn it over to the Beeb. He will still come up.